Mr Blackford raged that Scotland had voted to stay in the EU and that Mrs May had reneged on her promises. Mrs May said she was taking back to Brussels what was agreed by Parliament, and then criticised Mr Blackford for comments he made suggesting the Tories were ripping up the Good Friday Agreement, calling them, frankly, irresponsible. The SNP leader said that was a disgraceful response from a PM acting with sheer irresponsibility. Mr Blackford went on to accuse the government of dragging Scotland out of the EU against its will. He said, "We are scunnered by this government ignoring Scotland." He blasted, "Prime Minister, do you accept that you have promised Scotland everything, you have delivered nothing?" But the Prime Minister was having none of it and offered a fierce put-down from which Mr Blackford could not recover. Brexit news. Theresa May destroyed SNP Commons leader Ian Blackford in PMQs image Parliament. She boomed, "Scotland is part of the UK. It voted in 2014 to stay part of the UK. The UK will be leaving the EU, but if the right honourable gentleman wants to talk about the impact on Scotland in the future, perhaps he should look at the latest figures that came out just this morning on exports. Over 60% of Scotland's exports go to the rest of the UK. That's more than Scotland's trade with the rest of the world and over 3 times more than with the rest of the EU, and yet he represents a party that wants to erect a border between Scotland and England. The biggest threat to the future of Scotland is sitting on those benches." The news comes as DUP Westminster leader Nigel Dodds has claimed the EU's chief negotiator has blown a hole in the concept of the Irish backstop. The DUP MP for Belfast North said Michelle Barnier had said some checks and controls could be done away from the border and claimed that meant a backstop would not be necessary.